Taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Good morning, good afternoon, Dick Morris. Hey, did you see J.D. Vance wins the poll for the presidential, thing, 53-35 with Marco?
Yeah, I found that was a very weak performance for Vance, though. Rubio has been gaining, and for Rubio to be only 10 or 20 points over 50 is a weak performance. If I were Vance, I'd be upset about that.
Really? I thought that was a good thing.
And it's a survey of CPAC, so it's the activists of the activists. And he should be winning that by 30 or 40 points, not by...
It's because Marco's so strong in general.
That's right.
But
look, there's a fundamental question I want to start with. Why, with Iran at war, why, with oil prices soaring, why, with the economy slowing because of that, and why, with TSA basically on lockout.
Or lockdown, like you wanted to say. Yeah, on lockdown.
And the line so long that it seems that the airports say, hey, they've replaced the homeless shelters. And that fundamentally everybody is locked out. Why, with all of that happening, is Trump higher than he was 2 months ago?
Because he's picking.
Why is Donald Trump... Democrats still are leading Trump on who should control Congress. But it was a 6-point lead in January, and now it's only a 3-point lead.
So they're losing.
So the Democrats have moved down over the last 2 months, and Trump has moved up month after month.
I know the answer, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah. So the question is, why is that happening?
Well, because Trump picked and he chose what he needed to do, whether it was Iran, ICE, the border, and the Democrats basically had to jump into that defense mode. They could not be on the offense with anything. They're not on the offense with anything.
That's a great guess.
Isn't that a great guess?
Yeah.
I made up my own words.
The point is that the Republicans and Trump are choosing their issues. They're choosing to confront illegal immigrants. They're choosing to fight in Minnesota.
No kings and...
no, those are Democrat issues. I'm saying that the
fight. They're choosing what fight to go to?
The Republicans are choosing what fights to fight. They're choosing to fight on the ICE being too powerful or not. They're choosing to fight on the issue of should illegal immigration be allowed or not.
Which makes no sense.
They're choosing to fight on the issue of should we be in Iran in the first place. They're choosing to fight on the question of should we have a war in Iran.
I have a question. I have a feeling I know the answer to also, but you need to tell me. Just like you always say, when the left loses, they go further left. Right. Is that what this is?
Yes.
Them choosing these things are far less friggin' things that they shouldn't choose. Because if they had common sense, they would say, Americans want the borders tight. They want to be safe in the street with ICE. Not with ICE, just safer in the streets. They want to get rid of this tyrant in Iran and Venezuela and now... So is that your same strategy about the left that they use?
It's the effect of that strategy. The Democrats cannot choose their issues. They get dragged kicking and screaming into opposing ICE. They get dragged kicking and screaming into not funding ICE in the middle of a war on terror.
Literally screaming.
They get dragged into a war with Iran, fighting Iran, which used to be and still is really our number one enemy ever since the Ayatollahs took over. We hated Iran.
In 89 or whatever that was, sure. 79.
So the Democrats are handed their issues essentially by their base. And it's not their choice. Poor Chuck Schumer is not an idiot who sits there and says, oh, I don't like to fund ICE. Or not a moron who says, I want.
Wait, what are you saying Chuckles is doing?
It's not a moron or an idiot saying, I want to fight against ICE.
So why he's doing it?
Because his base is forcing him to do it.
The far left base.
Yes, exactly. And the far left is basically saying, these are your issues.
All right, hold on.
Fight.
Hold on, I have to ask this. So, I get that. And Chuckles is going with his far left base. That's really not his base, is it? But anyway, so you're telling me that he's going to go with the far left base, but he's not thinking about the party itself. And why? Because he wants to get reelected. I don't get why he would go with that.
Decision. He sits at the table and he gets told what issues to use.
Why and how if he's the leader?
Because he doesn't have the power over his caucus.
Why?
Because the caucus has moved way to the left of him. And if he puts his foot down and tries to stall it,
kick him
he'll
out.
get thrown out. So basically in the morning of any strategy meeting, the first session is not what issues shall we fight against the Republicans on? Because he doesn't have that power. He doesn't have that choice.
What's the first issue?
The first issue for him is where are we being dragged into? What fights do we have to fight because our base is making us fight it?
How do I keep my seat or my ass?
Yeah, more like the latter.
Yeah.
Whereas when the Republicans and Trump sit down at the board and say, what issues do we want? They say, well, we want to control Iran. We want to stop illegal immigrants from staying in the country.
Yeah, but hold on 1 second. Overall, what issues? How do we keep America safe? How do we keep America prosperous?
But let's be specific about it.
Specific, right.
And the Republicans can sit and choose. We want to fight to promote ICE and stop illegal immigrants from staying in the country. We want to stop long lines at the airports. We want this is the Republicans speaking. We want the economy to be doing better, to be doing okay. And they have the luxury of choosing what issues they want.
The Republicans, sure.
On what issues they will act. The Democrats and Schumer do not have that luxury.
Sure.
They're dragged kicking and screaming into their issues by their base. So,
you think that once again, common sense, which shouldn't be in the same argument here. Common sense for the Democrats would be, all right, we're kicking, we're screaming, we're doing, and this is because of the far left, the far left base. I don't like to call it the base because it's the far left, but okay, the far left base, right? You think they would say, we're not going to win any of this crap. Let's try to talk to these guys. This Trump guy is pretty powerful.
Yeah, but
that's like the mob boss on the block. You become friends with him. Hi, how you doing?
But if they do that, and they try to make friends with Trump on
they're going to lose their far left.
The left is going to lose.
Sure. Well, the far left is going to, they're going to lose that.
They will lose that far left base.
And that's their primary.
And that's themselves.
And that's themselves their getting essence. Into the race.
So
there's a conundrum.
It's as if the media, which is covering politics, does not have a channel dial. It just has a volume dial.
Right. They can't switch
say loud
over.
Or soft.
Interesting.
It can't say fight here, but don't fight there.
Right.
You have to fight every place. Every place the far left tells you to fight.
And just raise the volume.
And that also means every place Donald Trump chooses to fight. Because Trump knows that if he raises his volume, they will raise their volume, and that will cut everybody off the air.
And, I say this a lot, and you could definitely argue this point with me, but I don't believe, I know that he does. I know that Trump looks at things and says, they're going to lose with this. I'm going to do this. They're going to lose. But I truly believe in my heart, knowing the guy and being in his company 100 million times, that he really first says, what do I do? How do I make this work?
But,
and then it turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I really believe, I don't think he sits back and says, how do I beat them? How do my legacy?
Hey, all that is fine, but the issue is what comes out.
Right.
And the point is that the Republicans are helping themselves with each fight, and the Democrats are hurting themselves with each fight.
Amazing.
So when there's a fight over TSA, the Democrats have to take a left-wing position of screw TSA, don't provide it with funding, and don't give it any power. And when they're confronted with the issue of what will we do about higher gas prices, the Democrats essentially are forced to say we have to put up with higher gas prices, and we can't. We'll skip that. It's better to say that when the Democrats sit and choose their issues, they choose TSA, they choose You
mean defunding TSA?
Defunding TSA. Mm-hmm. They choose not fighting the war in Iran.
The SAFE Act, not letting people
They
vote.
choose the SAFE Act.
You know, we don't need identity to vote.
They choose positions that ultimately screw them up. And they do that not because they're not in charge.
Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think? I know you probably know it. Is the percentage of that far left, that crazy far left, that's controlling this?
Yeah,
are they 20% of the
It's not
party?
important. I don't know, but it's not that important because they don't win with the majority.
They win with the volume,
win with noise,
the volume
That's
control,
right. And drowning everybody else.
Wow,
and intimidating everybody else.
Wow.
Remember in history, the word communist used to be Bolshevik. And Bolshevik meant minority. The majority were the Mensheviks, who were opposed to the Russian Revolution, opposed to communism, opposed to Lenin. And the Mensheviks were defeated by the Bolsheviks. So this is not a primary system where the Democrats are dragged to the left because they choose to be. This is a revolutionary situation where they move to the left because they have to, because their base is requiring them to.
Wow.
And Trump can choose his issues by choosing what issues to face the left on and make the left move to the left.
You know how...
make the left unable to win.
You know how you have your insights? I just had an insight. This is like the little baby kids that say, and the parents want to go to dinner, and they want to go to nice Smith & Walensky, steakhouse, and the kids go, I want to go to McDonald's, and you go to McDonald's.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Exactly. That's my insight. He has these intellectual insights. I have, It's true,
the way Doug's head is through the cheeseburger.
Or women and dogs. But not dogly, women and pets.
So that's why all of these fights are helping and not hurting Donald Trump. And the media doesn't understand. For example, gas prices. Why is Trump not suffering badly now because of high gas prices?
Because
we all decided the big issue was affordability and cost of living. Well, there's nothing that hits that more than the price of gas. But he's not suffering from that. And the reason he's not is that the American public wants him to fight that fight. They say, okay, we've got a big fight. We've got a big enemy, Iran. We want Trump to defeat Iran. We don't want to have to screw around with Iran for the next 30 years.
We know that he's not going to stay in this fight. He'll back out and let Netanyahu continue. He's not going to. I think people know that, so that price is going to come down.
That's true. They know that.
You're asking me a question. You don't know
they know that it's temporary. You're right about that.
This is like Brandon Gill when he asks in Congress. He asks somebody a question and he just answers it. So you're my Brandon.
So Trump understands these are fights that he wants. Mm-hmm. He understands that he wants the Democrats to stand up and say disempower and defund ICE. Then he understands that.
Interesting.
That Trump wants the Democrats to say we want long lines at the airport.
So he could show the contrast between
exactly
him and them.
And the Democrats, it's not that they don't fight on the issues they want. It's they don't have the power to choose the issues they want. Because the far left drags them kicking and screaming into fights that make them look very bad.
Literally screaming.
They're plenty stupid. They're plenty irrelevant, irresponsible. But that's not why the Democrats are waging these fights. They're waging these fights because they have no choice. Because their base is forcing them to do that. So
Yeah, hold on. So you don't think there's going to be a point, there may have to be a point they're going to lose that party completely. There's a point where some of the common sense, middle of the ground Democrats are going to say, oh, God, stop this. I mean, how would they do that? How would that happen?
And they'll lose. They'll put up a candidate and he'll lose his primary.
That's it.
Their leadership will be voted out of office.
It's a vicious cycle, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's a dog going after his tail.
Well, it's worse than that because it eats the tail and eats himself.
They're eating themselves. You're right.
But the point is that the Democrats are not getting to choose their issues.
So
they're fighting against ICE not because they choose to, not because they think everything was horrible in Minneapolis, but because they have no other choice.
Wow. Their
base wants them to do that fight. They're fighting against the fight in Iran. They're fighting against the war in Iran. Not because they oppose the war in Iran, but because they know the public supports it. But their base is making them oppose it. Wow. And they follow it along.
You know, it's funny, just what you're saying. It's the same as when you have an argument with someone on the left, and they'll come to me because I'm on the show, and I'll give them that, or I'll just talk about anything. Doesn't matter. They will just quickly go to Donald Trump sucks, or I hate Donald Trump. They don't have
they don't have an argument,
right? Yeah. And even in the people on the seat, Schumer, he doesn't have pick something and try to do it.
So I used to be a Democrat, and I used to be one of the key people in their strategy meetings, and I can see myself in the strategy meeting. And I would.
You mean right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But flashback.
Sure.
And I would be saying, don't oppose ICE. Don't oppose the funding for ICE.
You did it with Clinton. You told them the welfare reform.
Don't support the people in Minneapolis who are standing in front of ICE. Don't oppose the war in Iran. People realize there are high prices. They realize all that. But they're willing to pay that price. They've been happy to pay that price.
And is that where
because the objective is worth it to them.
Is that where you would get stepped in a lot of it, or Stephanopoulos, whatever his name is, and to oppose you in that meeting, or Carville, or one of these guys will come at you and say, you're wrong, Dick Morris, and then you would have to go, Charlie would have to go to see Clinton on the side?
Well, yeah, but because Clinton was smart, and ultimately Clinton would be correct about the fights that he chooses to fight.
Right.
Here the Republicans are not correct about choosing to fight these fights. They're saying that...
First of all, they don't have a Dick Morris there.
They used to. They fired him.
That was 40 years ago.
Yeah. They used to... The Democrats can't sit down and choose the strategy and choose their issues to fight. They're being forced by their base to basically take Iran's side.
Wow.
They're being forced by their base to basically take the side of the illegal immigrants.
Okay, new question. All right, like I said, whatever. Why can't Schumer, whatever, because they're going to lose their left, the far left base. Why is and I think I know this too. Why is the far left base choosing to be with Iran?
Because who they are. It's their fundamental reason to be.
They are part of them.
It's who they are.
Right.
And it's not that the dog chooses to eat the dog food. He has to eat the dog food. That's the only way he can live. So the left has got to go ahead on these ises.
So that's what you get. And that's your metaphor. That's your example. He has to eat the dog food.
And I think that the result is that Trump is looking at a radio dial with only a volume knob.
No, they only have the volume.
But they can only control the volume.
Right, he can control the station.
He can make it what station.
Right.
He can make
WABC, WABC2, WABC3.
So when the strategist in the Republican meeting says, we're being okay in Iran, we're being okay with energy prices. If we have to put boots on the ground temporarily in Iran, we can survive that. And the left forces their leadership to take those positions. And they end up being unpopular and they end up hurting them. That's why with energy prices rising, with all of those problems happening, with riots about ICE, with no King's marches, and all of those issues. Trump and the Republicans are gaining, and the Democrats are losing, because those are not fights the Democrats want. They're fights the Democrats are being forced to fight by their base.
And talking about fights, I went by some bunch of no Kings morons. They're all 80 years old, 70 years old, a bunch of old people. Who are they going to fight?
Yeah.
I went by, and of course I have to open my mouth. I'm in a convertible. Trump, number one. And I usually don't do that, because if I'm in my cool car, I want to do that because it's noticeable and I don't want them throwing something at. Then I go to jail. But they're all old people. I don't understand. There was no young kids, a couple, but, 30 people standing there, and, 25 of them were just old, over 60s.
So take this first point with this summary. The reason the Democrats are being hurt by the chaos they are creating is these are not fights that they have chosen to foment, and not fights they have chosen. They're fights that have been forced upon them by their base, and their inability to control their base and tell their base what to fight over.
Their base is controlling them.
Yeah, and whereas President Trump doesn't let anybody tell him what to fight.
Nobody.
He does.
Well, Melania, absolutely.
He decides what he's going to fight and who he's going to fight. And by choosing the correct issues, he's insulated from any damage.
Awesome.
This is the Dick Morris Show on 77 WABC.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.